so long as like alchemy.
Walking away from.
Get them moving with pace. They're playing with pace. Keep pushing the ball.
All right, we got stop.
Communicate and cover.
I can't hear him downstairs. Let me do. That's my threat, right?
Get it back, get it back.
I got you back.
Stop, score, stop, stops, rebound, score. This is how we got to play. Let's go.
You can't stop me, 'cause my pain, is gasoline. I can't wait for nobody. If you,
Here we go, y'all. The first real test for DeMarcus Cousins in this unit. How will he be tested? He was tested early. Let's jump right into it. Early on, you're going to see sags off, and Horford right away hits the three ball. I was like, oh boy. And I'll be honest, the first quarter I think was rough for him. As we expected, Brad Stevens, they knew where to attack. He's a college coach. It's all about X's and O's with him. But what I loved is, and this is very important, is go right back to him. Let him feel good about being out there and let him get his offense off, right? You got to go blow for blow. So he gets the early touch, outlet pass, Clay. Second game in a row, we've seen that like reverse English finish off glass. The game came as advertised, but watch KD here. This could have been severe, man. We're very lucky that KD has such dexterity in his muscles. Take another look at this. That could have been a tragedy against the scoreboard there. So I had my eye on him early and how he was moving, but it really didn't seem to affect him. Kyrie with his best Steph impersonation, and I love that hiding behind the big. I think we can use Boogie for that type of staggered moving screen action. Kyrie taking advantage early, Clay the answer. And like I said, it was as advertised. Intensity, crowd, speed. And here he is again, getting late out to the shooter. And you could make an argument this is the biggest game DeMarcus has played in the NBA as far as atmosphere goes and, like just intensity. Clay, another early three ball, 10-10 early in Boston. Heavy dose of this high pick and roll, but this time Draymond gets over and digs, and he sends the train out on the tracks, and then Peep the look away pass to Durant for two hands, who did the bulk of the scoring for us here in this first quarter. I have two confessions. One, when I saw this first early shot from Steph, I was like, oh man, because the Steph haters love to point out that he doesn't have big games in big games, and so I was a little concerned seeing how bad he missed that. And then this is what I kind of expected, that pick and roll. There was the butt-naked slip from Horford. And so I kind of expected Boogie to get played off the floor in this game, and I was wrong about both those things. Here's Steph again, missing, but the big seal from the big boy in the big finish. All right, that's too many bigs. I think what DeMarcus needs to do is just get back to the big. I'm holding it here because you see Draymond, he loves to overhelp. So let Draymond be the help, and DeMarcus needs to get back to his guy instead of getting caught in no man's land. And then some of those plays right there, it looks like he's not giving effort. I think he just knows he's too slow to recover, and so he just is like, I ain't even gonna try. So it is what it is. Durant sweeping sky hook finish. Like I said, he had like 15 in the first quarter here, but it was just back and forth. Boston, they do kind of play like a college team. They dig in their intensity. You see the tripled quick team on Clay. They dig at everything. They're very physical, transition three ball. What's the theme? They're all in Boogie's face or him trying to get out to him, right? So now you see Looney and Iguodala get into the game, and all of a sudden, we're more versatile defensively. The switchability, look at that lob at that speed. That's not an easy pass to throw that softly. But all of a sudden, there's just more switchability, more versatility on the defensive end, and it kind of matches what Boston likes to do. And you saw that results, the steal, the block, headed the other way. Now, Jaylen Brown in these past matchups, they've gotten real physical with KD. Watch him here. And I'm showing you to show this. They call this foul eventually because in past games, it's kind of thrown KD off, and it didn't seem to in this one. I think he was more prepared for it. But I also show it because some of the touch fouls on DeMarcus were very similar to the handsy grabbing stuff that Brown was getting away with. There's Durant getting right to his spot, and it makes such a difference when you know what's coming, right? And I think he just knew how Brown plays him now. Draymond, this was a big shot. There were some silencers from the Dubs in this because, this crowd can get very rowdy and the young team feeds off of it. So I thought there was just some big shots throughout the night that kind of kept Boston's crowd at bay. Gordon Hayward, he's just a shell of himself, man. If he was making $8 million, you could live with it, right? But not at a max contract. Look at the launch step from Jaylen Brown, and that's what he needs to work on. Less is more with him. That's good coaching. Sometimes he tries to do too much. He's not really a ball handler. He's an athlete, so use your athleticism. Here he is dribbling the ball. You see Boogie make the effort. He gets out, right? But it's the second effort where he kind of falls asleep and gives him too much space. After a very quiet first quarter from Steph, he got in the kitchen. And he didn't just eat, y'all. He served up a 5-course meal. There's one. And one thing I noticed, I will say, is the relocation against this team in particular is very effective because you look at all their defenders, they're all 6'7", 6'8", the versatility. Well, where that hurts them is they're not able to get out and defend on some of these relocations because of their size. Boogie drawing the foul the Harden way. That's legit, though. He took up his airspace, right? That's a right call. The crowd hated all the calls that we got all night long. Here's another relocation. Watch, right? Hayward, right? These are bigger guys. So in an ISO situation defensively, they're great. But fighting through screens, trying to get back to Curry relocating, that's not exactly going to be a strength of theirs with their size. Jaylen Brown off the dribble three-point shooting. Not a huge fan of it. I don't think it fits what they want to do and his skill set. Draymond knows who has the hot hand, and I'm going to call him out on this a little bit. I don't know, man. I'm not really feeling the dance stuff. I can't lie. But that was his 4th 3 of the quarter, I believe. He went on a tear right there to pull us ahead. Take another look at it. It's just a bit much. It's a little too much gyrating for my taste, but hey, the chef can do what the chef wants. I talked about this team kind of playing like a college team. Look at the effort level on this defensive possession. It's, you know, they don't do it every time, but you see stints when they're playing well, and what it does is it speeds you up. We end up getting a good, clean shot out of this, but we're sped up because of the intensity and the speed of the defense. You don't see Clay miss short like that often. One thing I noticed is a lot of the holes in their defense start with Kyrie. And people love to compare Steph and Kyrie just because they're two of the elite point guards in the league. But Steph is a much, much better team defender than Kyrie. Just watching Kyrie in this game, I'm not sure it's IQ as much as laziness, but whatever it is, he's just not a very good team defender. Marcus Smart, very accustomed to hitting the floor. Steph says, why don't you have a seat for me? There's number 5 in the quarter. Despite the eruption, though, Boston, it never felt like Boston was going to lose contact. There's a stiff-legged jumper. And Clay, not only did he have lockdown defense in this, I love the way he got his points in this game. Very much within the flow of the offense. Here is where Kyrie and Steph are very similar. It is the baskets that they make are demoralizing, right? Because they're so spectacular at times that it makes the defender feel probably helpless. And so that's what they do have in common. You see Kyrie get going here. And then I like this decision. Let's play modern basketball. Al Horford, I know that's somewhat of a mismatch there, but we can live with that. Let's see him get 4 or 5 of those rather than give up open threes, doubling down on Al Horford, who's not really a post scorer. We did out-rebound him on the night, but 15 offensive rebounds was a bit much for my taste. And then Kyrie, man, when he goes ISO, like he may pound the ball more than Harden. You know, like he doesn't do it as often, but when he does, you could see where it would break the rhythm of his teammates because he gets into these little machine gun spurts and it's mesmerizing, but I don't know how beneficial it is for team chemistry. So going into the half, it was just a back and forth dogfight, everything we could have asked for. Here's Boogie's 4th foul to start the 3rd, and I just thought it was a tough call because Boston, they play very physical. Smart, Brown, those guys are playing like that all game long, so that's a tough call, but I think what's helping is Boogie being in this moment and on this team, he's not allowed to dwell on it. And, you know, when he's in Sacramento, he can just sit there and steam and fume about it. You're on the Warriors now. You're on the champs. Like, you got to keep playing ball, and I think that helps his mindset. Draymond protecting the rim, and then he goes down. So there were a couple of little scary chipped up moments here. Look, that's a good little high turn on the toe. Thankfully, he de-weighted off that pretty quickly. And watch the little sway in Boogie's shot. You see how he sways with the right foot? That's something you see guards do. Kobe, Reggie Miller, some prolific shooters. Very interesting to see a guy that size with the sway in his three-point shot. This time it's Draymond in the post off the head knock, so Boogie can set the big screen and Steph the beneficiary. Tatum got hot here in the 3rd, and I know he's kind of had a disappointing campaign. There was a lot. He was kind of anointed a little bit too soon. I said as much last year. There's Boogie's 5th foul, the shoulder charge. We're going to have to live with these. He likes to drop the shoulder on guys, and I'm with it because it slows defenders down. It's in the back of their mind. I may get cracked here if I come flying around this screen. Tatum, another 3. Watch Clay use his size. Less dribbles. Just use your stride and your size. That's a very smooth finish from Clay. The three-point line was pretty much even in this game. Both teams essentially at 37%. You're going to see Morris taking advantage of the overhelp and knocking the 3 down, giving Boston the lead. He's been one guy that hasn't disappointed this season. Now watch Kyrie's passes here. One thing I've noticed about him, he doesn't really give you an accurate pass when he penetrates because he doesn't pass it that often. And then this dude's just clutch. If it's a big basket, very much like Draymond, Marcus Smart, he's going to knock down the big ones, but he could miss 6, 7 in a row. Here's the third foul on Kyrie. If we see them in the finals, we have to make him work on defense. We've got to make him use some energy so he doesn't have those outbursts. Looney, very quiet, 8 points and 6 boards. 20 minutes off the bench, had a few nice tip-ins, and then Durant, he's just going too fast here. KD had 4 turnovers, but it's amazing. You look at the stats in this game, everything was so even. Both teams with 14 turnovers. Watch KD command the ball here. He was feeling very aggressive in this game, and I know someone on Twitter, shout out my guy Don, he was telling me, Steph had like 3 shots in the second half, and some of it was on his own volition. He wasn't as aggressive. It was the defensive scheme, and the other part of it was how aggressive KD was, but he was effective. Hayward, I don't love it. I don't hate it, but it's 3 free throws. Watch, no call here, and then the call made on the other end on the exact same strip in the paint. And I got a little nervous because Boston, it's really infamous for home whistles in all sports, right? So I'm like, uh-oh, are we going to get jobbed here? Watch Tatum. One thing he lacks is he's not very explosive. He's got a nice handle. He's very smooth, but that's why he doesn't get to the rim as much as you would think or to the line. He's not very explosive. Now, he's only 20. He can gain that, but I just don't think, explosiveness is kind of innate. There's option B, and Sean looks at Hayward. He's like, I know you ain't challenging me. Foreshadowing to the possible finals matchup again, I'm all right with making Horford a scorer. I can live with that. And I know, now we can't just let him pull up for these face-up threes at the top. He will knock these down. But I just don't want to overreact to him as an offensive player because I think he would much rather be a distributor. So don't let him do what he wants, right? Outlet Clay, once again, within the flow. Fourth quarter, though, you know who's going to try to take over this thing. Crazy handle, touch foul. That's number 5 on DeMarcus. Kerr left him out there, I think, because he knew, I'm not going to let him finish anyway. So if he fouls out, then I don't have to answer to him not finishing the game. I thought that was slick. Steph enters the game a little bit early here in the fourth. I like that, but watch him fall asleep on the first possession because he's been sitting, and he lets Rozier come flying in, Scary Terry the tip back. Again, 15 offensive rebounds. Kerr stopped it right away, like, hey, fellas, wake up. And Steph will figure out playing with Boogie. He doesn't need any help boxing out. But I want to show this pass here because this shows a great amount of trust in a new teammate. Fourth quarter, down 2. That outlet pass to the big man like that just shows a lot of faith in him. And it's good to see because he rewarded him. He got to the line. And frankly, DeMarcus rewarded Kerr for leaving him in the game with 5 fouls. Now he draws the offensive foul. That's a hell of a flop. He's a known flop god. And then this happens. Very kind of reminiscent of the McGee-Steph injury. Now, it didn't come down on the knee, but it was like, it was a collision. They both came up kind of sore. You hold your breath for a little bit. So I think that also maybe had to do with Steph's lack of aggression offensively in this fourth quarter. But KD, see, I can appreciate this. For me, I like that more than what Kyrie does. The efficiency of it. The cold-blooded 3 the hard way from KD. More cuz being big and in the right spot. Look at him hold Horford from where he wants to be so the pass is inaccurate and we get the turnover. Sean gave us some good minutes. It was good to see him aggressive in a big game. He usually plays all right in bigger games. It's the Tuesday nights against the Magic where you just forget he's an NBA player. He pulls up, and then this is just pure IQ. He knows how Kyrie likes to split those pick and rolls, reaches, gets a paw, gets the turnover. Here he is. This is good defense, right? But it's the second effort. Part of it's conditioning. The other part is just he's conditioned to get back into the paint as a big boy, right? So timeout, I did not love this. And I've complimented Draymond on this shot here, but to get this out of the timeout, and look at the other Warriors, it suggests that this was the shot they wanted. Watch Steph, watch the guys on the weak side. That was the shot that it appeared to be drawn up in the huddle, so I didn't love that at this point in the game. Kyrie pumps the brakes on Clay and then gets the nasty and one finish to pull them back ahead. And I know I said let Horford be a scorer, but contextually, like at the end of games, no one can be a scorer, right, in a tight game. But they put Iguodala back in over Looney, and they went right away to this double switch, and he pinned Iguodala for the little jump hook and gave them back the lead. Back and forth, back and forth. Here we go, under 3 minutes. But this is why you got to go with Ig, because ultimately you need to stop this guy, and he's got our best shot at doing it. But can anybody really stop him? So much energy used just to get a layup. Then Draymond just doing what he does, being clutch, using the pause, comes up with the deflection. Iguodala pushing, vision, patience. Klay, biggest shot of the night, third three of the game. Now, Klay was like a minus 12 in the box score. That just lets you know that doesn't always tell the case because his defense, along with his timely baskets, he had a great game. More pick and roll action between these two and the dig down. He just knows what's coming, the anticipation, the IQ. And then this one is tough. I already talked about the clutch gene and how similar these guys are. He's really like the guard version of Draymond. Hits the three to tie the game with a minute to go. So where are we gonna go? Ball's in Steph's hands, and it's that predictable over-the-top pass that almost turns the ball over, but Klay, he knows what he wants every time he touches the ball, and that's to score. Gets to the line, another huge play from Klay. So here we go, defense time. Can we get a stop and a win on the road? I love the bum rush trap from Steph Curry. They move the ball. Off balance three, we get the stop. Durant, he's got to appreciate the possession, and it looks like he was throwing it to the corner for Iguodala, but Iguodala was streaking to the rim for a dunk. Costly turnover, but I like that Durant didn't hang his head. His fourth of the game. You got to keep playing ball. There's no time to think about this. Can we get a stop? And it's Klay, Kyrie. We've seen this before. Is there anybody more familiar with his moves? Gets the stop. Draymond the rebound. Boston's ball. How many opportunities are we going to give this team at home to put us away? You watch the defense here. Draymond kind of selling out on the help. Watch the closeout from Iguodala. You see the little jab? That's what broke Morris's rhythm. Couldn't get it to go. Draymond secures the rebound. The problem is, as Steph, I was like, oh no, is he frustrated or hurt? The problem is we all know this dude at the line is not exactly money, and that's how it would play out now. Watch Marcus Smart here on this second free throw. He misses the first. Smart is going to slip. The ball bounces out. Draymond, how quick does he get that ball to the best free throw shooter of all time? And Steph, would you want anybody else on the line in this moment to put the game away, right? And you see these two kind of embrace. It was cool to see because they both effed up here at the end of this game, right? But they both redeemed themselves. And overall, this was a great team win on the road against a team that had something to prove, is playing well. Now, there was a couple of ankle tweaks. Guys are a bit chipped up. It'll be interesting to see who all is playing Monday against the Pacers on this final road game. But you couldn't have asked for anything more between these two. Is it perhaps a finals matchup? I'm not sure Boston's better than Toronto in my eyes. I know Toronto's let everybody down so many times, but I think people are getting a little ahead of themselves as far as this being the team. Matchup-wise, maybe they match up better than Toronto. But can Boston match up against this new-look Toronto? I'll be back Monday with the Pacer game. Those of you that tuned into the live, I apologize for that last live stream. That was complete trash. I promise to have that fixed for the next live, probably against the Sixers back home. I'm excited for that matchup. 10 in a row. I'm out, y'all.
So long as like